Welcome to the deep dive. We take that pile of sources you've got and boil it down into insights you can actually use.
Yeah, clear, actionable stuff.
Today, we've got a really fascinating mix. It's material that kind of challenges how we see, well, almost everything, from the universe right down to, our relationships, all looking through the lens of human behavior and getting better as people.
It's quite a range. We've got some pretty radical ideas about cosmology, some very direct takes on parenting,
Oh, yeah?
sharp points about relationships, and this really interesting philosophy about self-improvement. It's about, cutting through the usual noise.
Right, getting to the core truths. So you should get ready for a few aha moments, hopefully. Our job here is to pull out the most important bits and give them to you, maybe with a little bit of humor along the way.
Keep you hooked.
Exactly. We're going to explore how really looking at reality, like head-on, can bring some serious clarity and maybe show a path to being more effective yourself. Okay, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
So we kick off with some seriously mind-bending stuff from the sources about the universe. Like, imagine a Saturday night thought, just some idea popping into your head.
Yeah.
That ends up becoming a whole unified theory, one that could potentially explain some of cosmology's, biggest puzzles.
It's wild stuff. And what's really cool is the way they describe it. They use these analogies like time flowing like a river with different currents.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe like lava lamps, where the cosmic voids, the empty spaces are like smooth, fast-flowing water. But then galaxy clusters are turbulent rapids.
Okay.
And black holes, they're like massive whirlpools.
Yeah.
The key thing is time flows at different speeds in these different zones.
Right, which is already a bit weird to think about.
Yeah.
But then, and this is where it gets really interesting, they suggest these varying time flows could mean we don't actually need things like dark energy and dark matter.
Exactly. That's a huge leap. Take dark energy, this idea that the universe's expansion is speeding up.
Yeah, the standard model.
Right. Well, the sources say maybe it's not speeding up at all. Maybe it's something they call temporal lensing.
Temporal lensing, like light bending.
Sort of, but with time. Imagine you're looking way out at distant galaxies, and the light is traveling through regions where time itself is flowing faster relative to us. It would look like those galaxies are accelerating away, even if they aren't. It's like a cosmic mirage caused by time differences.
Wow. Okay. That accounts for dark energy, potentially.
Yeah.
So what about dark matter? The stuff that's supposed to be holding galaxies together because they spin too fast?
Same principle, they argue. The galaxy rotation problem. Think about a typical galaxy. You've got a supermassive black hole at the center, extreme gravity, right?
Right.
So time slows down dramatically near the center, but stars way out at the edges, they're much weaker gravity. Time flows faster out there.
So different time speeds within the same galaxy.
Exactly. From where we're watching, the center looks like it's moving slower than it should, and the edges look like they're moving faster. We think there must be extra mass dark matter to explain it.
But it might just be us seeing the galaxy through these different gravitational time zones.
That's the proposal. We're not seeing missing mass. We're seeing the effects of time dilation on a galactic scale. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if, 95% of the mystery in the universe is just an observational effect because time isn't constant?
That is. Yeah, that's a profound shift in thinking. So what's the takeaway for us, down here?
Well, the sources really hammer this point. Our brains didn't evolve to grasp cosmic scales. We're built for spotting the lion in the grass, local, immediate stuff.
And we project that onto the universe.
Right. And that raises this big question. How much do our own built-in perceptual systems impact our observations? How much do those limits actually fence in what we can even imagine is possible? The sources basically say we need to consciously force ourselves away from that intuitive local thinking and start thinking about different possibilities. The universe isn't broken, maybe. Our perception is just too small to see the whole river.
It's a call for intellectual humility, really.
Yeah.
And it's not just about space, is it? It feels like it applies to, well, everything. How our biases limit us daily.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if our perception of the cosmos might be flawed, what happens when we turn that reality check lens onto something much closer? The sources make a hard pivot here, straight into parenting.
Yeah, talk about a shift. And they deliver what they call an accountability wake-up call. It's pretty direct. They focus on this parental delusion epidemic.
Especially the teacher-blaming phenomenon.
Exactly. The pattern they describe is, pretty stark. Kid gets in trouble at school. Parent's first reaction, the teacher must be wrong.
Right. They jump straight to that.
Yeah, they cook up these elaborate explanations for teacher bias, just flat out refuse to consider their kid might have, actually messed up. The baseline assumption is, my child is perfect, so the problem has to be external.
And the sources hit back with this kind of blunt mathematical reality check.
It is blunt. They say, look, your sample size as a parent is one kid, and you're massively emotionally invested.
Totally.
The teacher, their sample size is 30-plus kids, day in, day out. They have professional comparative experience, as the source puts it, pretty harshly. Don't you live with your kid, I can promise you your kid fucked up.
It's direct, yeah. But it makes the point about perspective.
And they trace this back to what they call a narcissism revelation, this deep belief that you and your kid are just uniquely special, exempt from normal rules.
And the implications are broader.
Oh, yeah. They state it very clearly. If you can't accurately assess your own child's behavior, then you cannot be trusted with any important decisions. Full stop. And it becomes this generational transfer. The kid learns the same patterns.
Wow. Okay. Building on that, the sources then really go after participation trophies. They don't mince words.
No, they don't. They say competition is not a goddamn tactic you use to give false confidence to your kids. No, it's a way to keep them humble.
So confidence versus delusion.
Exactly. They make this really important distinction. Confidence is specific, tied to a skill, an activity you've actually worked at. Self-esteem is more general, how you feel about yourself overall.
Okay.
Competition, the sources argue, actually reveals your real strengths and weaknesses. That teaches humility. It drives you to improve. Participation trophies, they just build delusion.
And the consequence of that delusion.
It's pretty severe, according to the sources. First, false confidence. Then comes the inevitable reality shock when they hit the real world. And ultimately, it contributes to this failure to launch phenomenon.
Kids moving back home.
Yeah, even into their 30s. The message is stark. You get what you reward. Reward mediocrity, get mediocre adults.
So this all comes down to behavior, right? Why people do what they do. How do the sources explain that?
They bring in operant conditioning. It's a core concept from psychology, largely from B.F. Skinner. Basically, behaviors are influenced by consequences.
Reinforcement and punishment.
Exactly, and it breaks down further. Positive reinforcement encourages a behavior by adding something good, like, the classic treat for the dog sitting.
Or a kid cleaning their room, yeah.
Right. The negative reinforcement also strengthens a behavior, but by removing something unpleasant. Think of your car making that annoying dinging sound until you buckle your seatbelt. The dinging stops. That's negative reinforcement for buckling up.
Okay, so both reinforcements increase behavior. What about punishment?
Punishment decreases a behavior. Positive punishment adds something bad, like a scolding. Negative punishment removes something good, like taking away video game time.
Right, and that's where people get tripped up, isn't it? Negative just means removal, not necessarily bad in the everyday sense.
Exactly, it's just about taking something away.
So it's really interesting that the sources stress positive reinforcement being, generally more effective than punishment. Even though we humans seem to have this negativity bias, we focus on the bad stuff. Why is positive reinforcement better? What's the psychology there?
Well, the sources explain it like this. Positive reinforcement actually teaches what behavior to do. It builds motivation from within, makes the person or animal want to do the thing.
Okay.
Punishment, on the other hand, it just teaches what behavior not to do. It doesn't offer a replacement. Plus, it can lead to sneakiness, avoidance, or even reactance, that feeling of pushing back when you feel controlled.
Ah, right, that resistance.
Yeah. So the big takeaway is really understanding that you get what you reward. Whether you're training a pet or trying to influence how your kid behaves, or even how adults act in an organization, the incentives you set up directly shape the outcomes.
It seems so simple, but we get it wrong a lot.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads into another uncomfortable point the sources make. Basically, that maybe we're just real damn dumb.
Yeah, they don't hold back there either. They highlight moments, observations that make you think, as they put it. Sometimes it's just shocking that we have not gone extinct already. We're just a bunch of fucking morons. It's harsh, but it reflects a certain frustration in the material.
And how does this connect to leadership?
Well, they zero in on an example. A leader quoted as saying, "Sometimes people just have to duke it out."
Okay.
And the sources analyze this not as a political comment, but as a sign of leadership failure. They call it an adolescent default. Like, when things get tough, you just resort to letting people fight. It's seen as passing off responsibility.
Like defaulting to teenage behavior under pressure.
Exactly. And they argue it sets a dangerous precedent if violence, even metaphorically, is endorsed as a way to solve problems. The implication they draw is, well, it's incredibly sharp.
What do they say?
The fact that that made it from his damn brain to the public means he probably should never be allowed to make another strategic decision again. Again, very strong language.
Wow. Yeah. So the bigger picture here is what he's Neth. That critical thinking often just goes out the window.
Pretty much. That crucial decisions sometimes get made by people operating like, in the source's words, emotional children. And, we need to be really clear here. We're not endorsing these specific criticisms or political takes. We're just conveying the ideas and the analysis presented in the source material about patterns of human behavior.
Right. It's about recognizing these patterns wherever they appear.
Exactly. These patterns that can lead to really poor outcomes, often on a massive scale.
Okay. Let's shift gears again, bringing it back to our personalized relationships. The sources offer this really stark piece of advice that definitely hit home for me.
What's that?
It's basically, if you're in arguments with your partner and you're not getting the right answers, or maybe the answers don't match their actions, then you should shut up and just observe.
Actions speak louder than words.
Totally. Let their behaviors tell you the truth, because maybe the words aren't.
And that ties into this living together test they describe, right? It's all about observation.
Yeah, these little behavioral clues, like proximity. Do they sit by you unprovoked? Do they naturally gravitate towards you?
Or space sharing. Do they leave when you enter a room? That's a pretty clear signal.
Yeah, or physical contact, how much time they actually invest in being with you. The core idea is just so simple. If you live with someone, there is no way to hide anything. It'll be their behaviors. The truth is in the daily actions.
It's hard to fake it 24/7.
Impossible. And they add this really powerful framework around honesty.
Which is?
Basically, if they're not being honest, it can't be fixed. Game over. But if they're honest about it, or you're honest about your own behaviors, pretty much everything is fixable in a relationship.
So honesty is the key.
But it's not just honesty in words. It's being honest and then doing the work. You have to put the work in and do the actual behaviors. Action again.
It always comes back to behavior.
Always. Now, get this next bit. The sources have this absolutely hilarious, but also kind of profound take on falling in love.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They say, I can't stand it when people say, we just fell in love and we just fell out of love. Dude, you did not trip into fucking fall in love. We create conditions in which love can grow. If you fell in love and it was that simple, you wouldn't have to hold that fart for 45 minutes.
Oh my God. That's brilliantly put. It completely demolishes the whole love is effortless myth.
Right. It highlights all the conscious, deliberate work that goes into creating the conditions for love, especially early on.
Even holding in bodily functions.
Exactly. Or, always putting your best foot forward, presenting your best self. It's all intentional effort. Love isn't an accident. It's, as they say, the result of consistent behaviors that create connection, trust, and attraction.
It's built, not found.
Precisely. So from love to something, much less comfortable. The sources really tackle sexual double standards head on. Brutally honest. They point out this core contradiction. They ask, essentially, why would you have sex with someone you think so low of? Talking about men who sleep with women and then call them derogatory names.
Yeah, that's a glaring hypocrisy.
And their take is sharp. I think it says that's what they think about themselves, too, and they're just literally trying to drag the woman down with them.
Wow. So it's projection.
That's how they frame it.
Yeah.
They call it a logical impossibility. Calling someone a name for behavior you're also engaging in. It's like a mirror effect, where the name-calling is really projected self-hatred.
That's a deep cut. It links the behavior to the person's own self-worth.
Exactly. And it connects to an even deeper issue they raise. The inability to delay gratification.
Okay. How so?
They're incredibly blunt about it. You're just a spoiled little shit that'll do whatever it takes to get with your little satisfaction needs because you can't delay gratification.
Wow. Okay. No holding back.
None. They argue this inability to wait, this need for instant satisfaction, leads directly to exploiting others and completely avoiding the hard character work needed to become a decent person.
So it all connects the hypocrisy, the exploitation. It stems from a lack of self-control and character.
That's the argument. And they contrast this with what they call authentic masculinity, which they define as protecting vulnerability, taking responsibility, contributing positively.
Versus Toxic masculinity.
which they define as exploiting vulnerability, blaming victims, shirking responsibility. And the ultimate measure, the real character test, they say, is simple: how they treat people when they have power over them.
That feels like a universal truth, really. Power reveals character.
Yeah. Okay, so to kind of wrap all these threads together, let's look at this personal philosophy woven through the sources. They call it the architect's message.
The architect's message sounds significant.
It starts really raw, like a confession almost. Sleep-deprived and a little stoned, but I have a message. I have a message for myself, I think, so I never forget, more than for anyone else.
Okay, very personal. What's the core message?
It's about radical self-awareness. We have to look and see who the hell we are, and if you can't recognize what we are and who we are, we're trapped.
Facing the truth about yourself.
Yeah, including the uncomfortable parts of human nature. Like, I already know I'm a selfish Homo sapien. I cannot get around that. That is woven into the very fabric of the quantum collapses that make me what I am.
Whoa.
But, and this is key, if I can't look at that and I cannot face it, I have no way to change it. Acceptance is the first step.
You have to see the material before you can sculpt it.
Exactly. But it's not hopeless. There is a path forward.
Yeah.
It involves 10,000 dull chisels.
Meaning?
Slow, patient, deliberate work. Chipping away day after day to carve out a better self. And here's a really powerful distinction they make. Reality is reality, but it still does not have the power to take away my choice of what I want my structure to look like.
Ah, so agency within constraints.
Right. Maybe I can't choose what I am right now, but I can at least choose what I would like it to be. It's about choosing the direction, the ideal, even if the starting point is flawed.
And this leads to the idea of character as a 4D structure.
Yeah, think about it. A structure, a building, exists in 3D space. But character, it's built over time. That's the fourth dimension. It's the complete pattern of your integrity, your choices, your actions, built across your entire lifespan through that sustained, chisel-like effort.
Wow. So it's not just who you are now, but the whole trajectory, the effort itself is part of the structure.
Exactly. And the deep satisfaction comes from that earned achievement, that slow building, not the quick fix or the instant gratification we talked about earlier.
That makes a lot of sense. It ties everything together.
It really does. And it brings us back kind of full circle to parenting, but with this new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The sources contrast worried parents with confident parents.
Worried being fear-based, anxious.
Right. And confident being more growth-based, excited about the challenges.
And what's the key advice there, based on this architect idea?
One huge piece is to normalize failure. The source says, I always pointed out when I did fail, that way when they failed, they didn't feel like it was something abnormal. You show them failure is part of the building process.
Takes the shame out of it.
Exactly. And crucially, don't rub salt. When someone fails, they know it. Pointing it out again and again is just cruel. It hinders the building. It doesn't help.
So it comes down to that fundamental question the sources pose. Are you preparing your kids for life or trying to protect them from life?
Yeah. Big difference. Wow. Okay. This deep dive, it really has felt like a shortcut to getting, well, properly informed on some heavy topics, hasn't it?
It really has. From those cosmic ideas challenging fundamental physics, right down to the nitty-gritty of human behavior and relationships, it's all about applying that reality-based lens.
And seeing how it can just transform your understanding.
Absolutely. Whether you're questioning scientific models or maybe recognizing some of those delusional patterns in parenting, maybe even your own, or understanding relationships through behavior, not just words.
Or embracing that hard, slow work of becoming a better version of yourself, the architect idea.
Yeah, all of it challenges us to think differently, to act more intentionally, maybe.
So what's the big takeaway for you? For me, it's just the sheer power of facing reality. Even when it's super uncomfortable, it really feels like the essential first step.
But for first step towards any real growth, yeah. Becoming the architect of your own character, as they put it.
So the final thought for you, listening.
Yeah, the question we leave you with is this. In a world that's just full of noise, distraction, maybe even delusion, are you willing to truly see what is, rather than just what you wish was true?
And once you have that clarity,
Yeah.
what will you build?